Okay, so very good morning to all of you. And today I'm here to discuss about the Buddhist meditation as requested in the comments section. When talking about Buddhist meditation, I think it is important for all of us to, know the Buddhist literature as well. Meditation, when talking about Buddhist meditation, it is something which is older than Buddhism itself. And meditation is something which is, even beyond Buddhism. So even before the time of Gautam Buddha, the practice of meditation was there on the mainland of India, in the tradition like Sankhya and Yoga, and even before, Vedic tradition, like from the time of Harappa civilization, we have got the reference for like meditation. So, but I think it was not fully developed until the time of Gautam Buddha. So, and in the Jainism also the practice of meditation was there, but it was fully not systematized until the time of Buddha. Okay, so now when talking about Buddhist meditation, we need to reflect on the Buddhist literature. So when talking about Buddhist literature, Pali Tripitaka is the oldest literature available. So the Pali Tripitaka, as I think many of you must be aware, that it's divided into three parts. The first part is called as Vinaya Pitaka, which is all about the rules and regulation related to Buddhist monks and nuns, and also about the regulation of Buddhist Sangha, how a Sangha should be regulated. And there's some historical information also. And second is about the Sutta Pitaka, and in Sutta Pitaka you will find the oral discourses of Gautam Buddha. So after his enlightenment, Buddha spent 40 years in this different villages like Rajgir, Nalanda, Shravasti, where he gave the discourse in the oral form. So all those oral discourses were collected in the Sutta Pitaka. Now, when moving on to the Abhidhamma, Abhidhamma is like the third uh, limb of Tripitaka, third part of Tripitaka. So Abhidhamma means special kind of Dhamma, advanced form of Dhamma. So when talking about Sutta Pitaka, in the Sutta Pitaka, Dhamma is kind of like, these days made by people as like something to worship, isn't it? Something which is sacred. But when, talking about Abhidhamma, in the Abhidhamma, Dhamma is considered as something like scientific element. Suppose for a normal people, like, we see water as water only, a liquid, translucent liquid, which will quench our thirst and like that. But for a scientist, he will see that there's a two hydrogen and element and one oxygen. So that kind of thing is also applied in the Buddhist Abhidhamma. So that is why Abhidhamma is considered as the advanced form of Dhamma. Here we will not discuss about worshipping things and all those stuff. Here we are discussing the element. Now, what are the element in Buddhist meditation? So element are also called as dhatu in ancient Indian language. So now here, suppose we read in the chemistry about all the periodic table, there are different elements like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. So all those things are not visible, but they are there in our environment. So similarly, in the Dhamma, Abhidhamma, we give importance to the sense organ like eye, nose, ear, tongue, and then mind, then touch and feelings, isn't it? So all these sense have, this six sense as six object. Like for eye, there's some object in eye object, and for a nose, smell is the object. For a ear, the sound is the object. So 6 plus 6 comes 12, and 12 plus then their consciousness, eye consciousness, ear consciousness comes 18. So all these 18 element are called as dhatu. Okay, so now here the concept or the meaning of Dhamma is changed. Okay, the context, since the context is completely different, here we are scientifically investigating the Dhamma that is available in us. Okay, that we as a human being are not aware of the Dhamma. Most of the time, our focus is on the outside objects and the environment. Like a scientist, he study the outside environment, but not himself. So, but in the Buddhism or in the Buddhist Abhidhamma, the focus is, shifted largely, shifted towards internal elements. So that is why it is called as Abhidhamma. We have, you know, um, especially, the importance have been given here to know oneself, and how we can know oneself through this, our sense organ, which is called as element or Dhamma here. So, now, when talking about Buddhist meditation, there are different types of Buddhist meditation, but scholars and many seers, they have broadly classified under two sections. One is called as Samatha meditation, and other one is called as Vipassana meditation. Now, what is Samatha meditation? Okay, Samatha meditation is like all about the concentration of our mind. Suppose our mind for an initial practitioner, new practitioner, it's very difficult for him to come out of different types of distraction, since we are living in this age of technology. So we are bound with different types of distraction. So in order to come out of all this different type of distraction, we do samatha meditation, where we try to pull out our mind from different type of distraction with the help of different meditation objects. So there are actually 40 different types of meditation object mentioned in the text, like Vishuddhi Mark and Vimutti Mark. Through more object added in the Vimutti Mark. But these days, many practitioners find breathing as the most comfortable and the convenient meditation object. So whether it is Hindu tradition, Buddhist tradition, or any other tradition, they find breathing as the most easiest sort of like comfortable object, because breathing, our both body and mind get connected, isn't it? But apart from that, there are many different types of object of meditation. So I'm going to share my screen so that you will get more sort of like clear understanding of this meditation thing. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay. So Samatha meditations means mind calming meditation or concentration. So Samatha is all about subjugation of our inner and outer defilement or distraction. So many scholars have written commentaries and a lot of textbooks on the Buddhist meditation. So Riz is one of the great Buddhist scholars who defines Samatha as the mental quietude. Okay, so similarly, in the Vishuddhi Mark, one of the classic textbook of Buddhism, which is considered as the filtered portion of the whole Tripitaka. Okay, so here also it define Samatha meditation as the one pointedness of mind or centering of our mind to the meditation object. So it's a complete state of like non-distraction. Okay, so now, as asked in the comment section to talk about jhana, practice of jhana. So both this practice of jhana, there are two types of jhana. One is called as rupa jhana, other one is called as arupa jhana. Okay, rup means form, where we use different form object, visible object. Okay, we are for a, initially it's difficult for a practitioner to concentrate his mind, so we take the help of certain object. For some it's they use breathing, but for some uh, practitioner, they need this kind of like physical object. So there are 40 meditation object, which we will discuss in some another section, video section. So in the four lower jhana, in the first four jhana, we use roop, we use object. So that is why it is called as roop jhan. So jhan is the Pali term. So Sanskrit word for jhan is simply dhyan. Okay. So now later on, then as the practitioner get mature, in the lower four jhana, then she doesn't require this meditation device or object. So that is why it is called as arupa jhana, where we are not using any tangible sort of like object. Okay, so let's get into this concept. So now what is jhan? Okay, what is jhan? Jhan is basically dhyan in Sanskrit. And dhyan, whenever when we say dhyan, it's simple, okay. And this dhyan basically, when it entered into China and in Japan, the term basically turned from dhyan into Chen and Zen. Okay, so but the oldest word for meditation in the at the time of Gautam Buddha is Jhan. Then Sanskrit, in the Sanskrit it is it is called as Dhyan. So Dhyan is basically a complete mental absorption, okay, complete unification of our mind. That is called as Dhyan. So literal meaning of the Dhyan is to think or to meditate, which means to contemplate on the nature of the given object. Now, the process of Dhyan, as you can see here, is very, I think, important for those who are interested in meditation to understand this. Now, there are, four different stages of Dhyan: first, second, third, fourth. Pratham, Dutiya, Tatiya, and Chaturth. Okay, Patham, Dutiya, Tatiya, and Chaturth in Pali. Pratham, Dutiya, Tatiya, and Chaturth. Okay, first step of Jhana, second step of Jhana, third and fourth step of Jhana. Now, the first slide, on the first line, I've written some words like Vitak, Vichar, Piti, Sukh, and Ekagata. Now, these are the supporting factors of Jhana. These are the factors which help the practitioner to concentrate their mind on the given object. So in the first jhana, as you can see, the whole factors like vitark, vichar, piti, sukh, ekagata, these are like the good friend, okay, who support us, okay, who support us to keep our mind on the object. Suppose good friend always help us whenever we get off track. Good friend, those who have good friends, they come to help us and to put back us on to put back on track. Isn't it? To put us back on the track, isn't it? So similarly, here also there are some factors like vitark, which are piti, sukha, and ekagata. So now vitark means applications of mind. So vitark help the practitioner to apply his mind on the meditation object. Suppose, it's as I have already mentioned, breathing is also one beautiful meditation object, and similarly, some people find the statue of Buddha as a comfortable meditation object. Some use different desk shape, which is called as casino, etc. Some use, mature practitioner use dead bodies to come out of lasting sensual desires, etc. So, which we will discuss later on. But I think at this stage, it is important to understand the function of vitak, which are piti, sukha, and ekagata. What is the role of the supporting factors? Okay, this good friend, how they help the practitioner to concentrate their mind on the meditation object. So in the first stage, now practitioner require a lot of energy to apply his mind on the meditation object, because we have this habit of like distraction. Our mind get distracted in the outside world, isn't it? And it's very difficult to sit in the meditation even for 5 minutes. We can't sit in the meditation, we can concentrate our mind, isn't it? So under such circumstances, vitark is kind of like application of mind in the meditation object. Suppose we all have been into the school, isn't it, where we ring the bell. So ringing the bell is like vitark. Okay, so similarly we have to apply our mind. Here we require some sort of like internal effort to apply our mind on the meditation object, and that is done with the help of vitark. Okay, then comes vichar. Vichar means when we apply our mind on the meditation object, then it remains for a 5 to say 10 minutes, isn't it? Suppose if we ring the bell, then that sound of that bell lasts for say 2 to 3 minutes, isn't it? So vitark and vichar means application and sustaination of mind on the meditation object. Now, suppose say suddenly, if our minds stick on the meditation object for a longer period of time, then what happened? A rupture or happiness or bliss started, feeling, isn't it? We feel so happy, we feel so elated. That is called as piti. And then comes finally sukh, happiness. The happiness that is quite different from the happiness that we get through material object, isn't it? So as a human being, we have different desires. Suppose if some person wish to get iPhone or like any other thing like book or like any other desire. When the desire get fulfilled, he gets so happy, isn't it? But here, when the practitioner minds get, concentrate on the given object for a longer period of time, then that bliss and that happiness is something which is unique, something which is very subjective, something which only that practitioners can only know, isn't it? So now there's a slight difference between piti and sukh. Both refers to bliss and happiness, but there's a little differences. Okay. So in the text Vishuddhima, Acharya Buddha Ghosh has mentioned that the difference between Priti and Sukh. Priti means bliss and Sukh means happiness. It's like, suppose a traveler was, got stuck in the desert and he felt like very thirsty, isn't it? So now, some other traveler, he comes to know that there's a water on the other side of the desert. So then what he feel? Just by hearing the name of the water, he started feeling happy. So that is called as bliss, piti. Now, when he, goes to the other shore uh, and actually finds out the water and drink it, and finally quenches thirst, and that is called as sukh, happiness, isn't it? So there's this slight difference between piti and sukh. Similar thing happened when we sit in the meditation and our mind get stick on the meditation object, and we feel so elated, so light, and so happy, isn't it? So then ultimately, when we rise beyond those state of elation or happiness, then comes ekagata. Then what happened? At one stage, you will find that there's no difference between the meditation object and the mind and the person's mind. It's like they are so beautifully united, and that state is called, a state of mind is called as ekagata. Okay, so in the first stage, all these five factors, good friends, which are Piti Sukha remains active. Since we are new practitioners, so we need special energy to apply our mind. But once our mind gets applied, once our mind gets stick on the meditation object, isn't it? Then we feel that sort of like feeling of like happiness, bliss, and then equanimity. Now, what happened as we move through the next stage, which is called as Dutiya Jhan or second step of Jhan, the vitark is not very much required because now since we get trained in the first step, so vitark is not required. So it remains in the passive form. It is not completely absent, but it remains in the passive form. Okay, suppose sometimes what happen even if the practitioner is old, out depending upon the certain external environment and the circumstances, they require this vitark, okay, to apply their mind. Okay, so but in the second stage, usually technically the vitark remain in the passive form, but like the second other the remaining factors like with which are piti sukh ekagata, those factors remain active. Then comes the third step. Now, in the third step, now the practitioner get more mature. So both vitark and vichar is not required. Not required means these two factors remain in the passive form. Okay. Suppose if the need arise, they will come on the surface of our mind to help us. But if the need is not there, then they will remain in the passive form. Okay. But Piti Sukh and Ekagata remain active. Now, in the fourth stage, that is called as the last stage of Jhana, what happened? All the vitar which are piti sukh piti, these three factors remain in a inactive form. Then what happens, as I've already mentioned, that the meditation object and the mind get so beautifully united, so beautifully concentrated that there remain no difference between the mind and the meditation object. So at this stage, that stage, you will find so your mind gets so fully absorbed into the meditation object. So that is why this whole process is called as Jhan, complete mental absorptions or complete mental unification of mind. And it is a part of samak meditation where we are trying to concentrate our mind by overcoming all kind of distraction. Now, there are different types of distractions. So before going into the Arupa Jhan, the higher stage of Jhan, there are another four stage of Jhan which are called as Arupa Jhan, formless Jhan, where we do not require this physical object. it is important for all of us to understand the the challenges, the distractions means there are certain challenges, there are certain obstructions. Now, what are the challenges that we are trying to overcome in the process of Jhāna? Okay. Suppose in the movie also we are seeing some villain. Villain always try to create distraction and disturbances, isn't it? So when going through the path of Nirvana, we also face a lot of challenges, a lot of hurdles, a lot of obstructions. Now, what are those obstructions? These obstructions are not something which is outside. These are all within us. As a human being, we have all these distractions and defilement inside of us, isn't it? Now, what are those hindrances? These are called as Panch Nivran also. So the first is Kamachand. Kamachand means sensual desire. So as a human being, whether it is Hindu, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist, isn't it, Sikh, as a human being, as a family of Homo sapien, all human beings have this sensual desire. Okay, so it's not bad, but when moving towards in the path of spirituality, it creates, access of this kind of desire creates hurdle. Okay, so that is why we have to overcome kamachan, sensual desire. Then comes vyapat. These are all palita. Okay, vyapat means ill will or hatred towards oneself, towards other as well. Then comes Thina Midda. Thina Midda means obduracy of mind and matter, like sloth and torpor. The laziness, the excuses that we have thousand different types of excuses, isn't it? Suppose if the environment is so hot, then we say today the weather is so hot, so I can't do meditation and like that. Likewise, we have thousands of different types of excuses. Those are comes under Thina Midda. And then comes Udach or Kukacha, means restlessness. Sometimes without even reason, our mind feels so restless that we are not able to sit in the meditation. Okay, so these also create disturbances. Then the last is called as Vichikicha. Vichikicha means doubt, doubt regarding the path. If you have no faith in the path shown by Gautam Buddha, then you are not able to work on the path of meditation. So if you have doubt regarding the technique, if you have any doubt regarding the process, then you're not able to do the proper meditation. So doubt, all these five hindrances, Panch Nivaran, should be cleared out. It should be overcome. And it can be overcome only in the process of like Jhāna or Samat meditation. Okay, so the challenge here is to overcome these five hindrances. These are like the five bad friends. Bad friend always detract us, isn't it? They take us away from our path, our goal. But there are some five good friends, as I've already mentioned, five good friends, as I've already mentioned, Vita Vicha Piti Sugakada. Those are like the good friend that comes at the time of challenge and help us, put us back on the path of like Nibbana. So these are the process, the technique, and these are the thing. So as a human being, there's no difference. But when talking about sensual desire, ill will, hatred, as a human being, all I think these are all reside within us. We always think that these are something from that come inside in our mind from some outside environment, but basically it is inside us. So we need to uh, find out, first of all we need to identify, and we need to accept that yes, there's a sensual desire in me, there's a ill will and hatred and envy and jealousy in me, there's this restlessness and laziness in me, there's doubt in me. Okay, once we identify this, then we become able to we get we accept it. Okay, so first of all, it's very important to identify that yes, all these elements are inside me and not something which is outside or in some other human being. Okay, it's inside me. I need to get, out of all this thing. So now what to do? Okay, to come out of all these different sort of like hindrances, this distraction. For that, then I have already mentioned the five factors. We need to take the help of these five supporting factors called Jhāna, Vitark, Vichar, Piti, Sukha, Ekagata. And then we need to go through the process of this Jhāna, complete, concentration or unification of our mind. So unification of mind, concentration of mind becomes very challenging because of the disturbances created by the five hindrances of Panch Nivaran. So in order to overcome this Panch Nivaran, distraction created by this Panch Nivaran, we need to understand the process clearly first of all, and we need to take the help of these five supporting factors. And once we get mature in this process, then we can, further advance to the uh, four like arupa Jhāna, which are Jhāna means dhyan, for arupa, then for formless type of meditation, which is called as higher stages of meditation, samat meditation, which we will discuss in some another video section. For today, I think this much is enough, and I hope this video will, this lecture session will definitely, I hope it may help you all. So that's all I want to say. Thank you so much and have a good day.